You always hear about these amazing, powerful algorithms that are driving AI, right? But today, we're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to look at its unseen foundation, all that critical work that has to happen long before a single line of code ever gets written.
So let's start with the big question. Why do so many AI projects just fail? I mean, companies pour millions into brilliant engineers and super powerful computers, only to watch their big AI project stumble and give back weird, biased, or just plain useless results. What is going on?
Well, the answer usually isn't where you'd think to look. It's almost never the fancy, complex algorithm that's the point of failure. The problem is actually much deeper. It's right there at the very beginning. The problem is the data itself.
I want you to think about it like this. Building an AI is a lot like being an architect for a house. You wouldn't even think about starting construction without inspecting the foundation, the steel, the wood, would you? Of course not. That exact same principle applies right here. For AI, the data is all of your raw material.
And that really brings us to the heart of this whole thing, that critical work that happens before any of the coding starts. This is the architectural inspection for our AI house, and it is all about evaluating that data foundation.
So what is AI data evaluation really? Simply put, it's the process of making sure your data, the very building blocks of your model, is accurate, relevant, and unbiased. You gotta think of it as the quality control that ensures the entire structure doesn't just collapse on you down the line. So let's start with the very first thing any good architect would do. You check the building materials. For our AI, this means we've got to take a really hard look at the quality of our data. Now, this whole process really breaks down into three key checks. First up, accuracy. Are the bricks solid? In other words, does your data actually reflect what's happening in the real world? Then there's completeness. Are any bricks missing? Because gaps in your data are going to create some serious weak spots. And finally, you have consistency. Are all the bricks the same size? Using different formats or units is kind of like trying to build a wall with mismatched parts. It's just not going to work. Okay, so once you know your materials are solid, you've got to survey the land. You have to be absolutely sure the ground you're building on is level. And in the world of AI, this means searching for hidden tilts in the data, which we call bias. Now, this is a really crucial point. AI bias isn't some evil programmer coding malicious intent into the machine. No, it starts with the data. If the information you use to train the model doesn't accurately represent reality, the AI's decisions are going to be skewed. It's simple, really. It can only know what it's been shown. And this right here illustrates the problem perfectly. If our training data is made up of 95% from customer group A and only 5% from group B, well, guess what? The AI becomes an absolute expert on group A and is basically clueless about group B. It's building on a tilted foundation, and its predictions are always going to reflect that imbalance. But it's not just about quality and balance, it's also about freshness. Using old, stale data is like building a house with rotted wood. It might look okay at first glance, but it simply will not hold up over time. This timeline shows you exactly how that happens. Say a model is trained on data from 2023. But by 2024, the world has changed. Market behavior shifts, new trends pop up. And by 2026, that same model, still thinking it's 2023, is dangerously inaccurate. This is a phenomenon we call data drift, and it's exactly why keeping your data fresh is totally non-negotiable.
So we have high quality, level, and fresh materials. What's next? Well, now it's time to read the master blueprint. For an AI, this blueprint is what we call the data schema. It's the structure that defines how every single piece fits together. And this comparison just says it all. On the left, you've got a clear, consistent blueprint. Everybody knows what's what. On the right, it's absolute chaos. With 5 different ways to label a date of birth, any AI trying to build from this messy plan is doomed to fail. It's just like a construction crew getting 5 different measurements for the same window. Nothing is ever going to line up. Okay, this brings us to the final step before any construction can even begin. It's like the architect walking the entire property one last time to see the big picture. In data science, we call this exploratory data analysis, or EDA for short. It's the final survey of the landscape. And the result of this is the architect's final report. Through EDA, you uncover hidden patterns, you spot weird anomalies, and you finally understand how all the different pieces of data relate to each other. This is where you validate all your assumptions and document everything you've learned.
And only now you are ready to start building.
You know, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this single idea. Without all of this rigorous evaluation, this careful architectural planning, you just can't build an AI that is robust, ethical, and high-performing. The foundation is quite literally everything. So I'll leave you with this thought. Every single AI you interact with, from your social media feed to your banking app, everyone was built on a data foundation just like this. And the real question is, do you trust that its architects did their job right?